Howdy. How's it going, Subhash? Hope all is well. I'm having some issues with my phone. I had a video for you last week and it just will not upload for some reason. So I'm going to try again. And I mean, this is kind of like what I was going to teach you last week, plus a little extra. Let's see. So we are doing this thing with a bunch of students this week and last week as well on pinch harmonics and harmonics in general. I think we did a bit on harmonics. So I was going to try and teach you a little bit on the pinch ones. I believe I have never taught you this before, but if I have, I apologize. But at the same time, a review of this isn't a bad thing. Honestly, there's a good point where like there's only so many notes on the guitar, and the harmonics kind of opens up some more notes that aren't fretted notes on our instrument. You know what I mean? So the idea really is that we can kind of expand our range a little bit more with this. This is kind of what I'm experimenting with now, is trying to figure out how to like play music with the harmonics a little bit, or at least use them more often, because it's a different, you know, depending on the song. But anyway, so we're gonna be playing with some dirt. All right, so right now I'm not too dirty right now, but the thing is that, you know, the more dirt you have, the more the harmonics are gonna ring, so you can kind of figure out where they're gonna sound the best. Two, also, when you have on the electric guitar especially, obviously, because this is what we're doing with dirt, being in the bridge pickup is gonna be better than in a neck pickup or any middle position, because the bridge pickup is as close to the bridge as possible. That way it gets as much of the ring from the whole string, everything from here back, okay? Because the thing about the harmonic is it actually rings across the whole string that's being unless, you know, it's being fretted on. So to get the full thing, you really need something close to the bridge. I'm not mathematically sure why that is exactly. I think I kind of get why, but I think it's because it's close to the bridge, and that way everything you do here, back here, will be louder. You know what I mean? And I can demonstrate that for you a little bit. All right, so let's just cover over the natural harmonics first. So I'm on the bridge pickup right now with a little dirt. All right, so I'm gonna do this on the high E string because it's the most sensitive string for these types of things. All right, so the first natural harmonics that we get without really trying to force it is going to be the 12th fret, the 7th, and the 5th. Okay, the 12th fret actually harmonizes or has a harmonic note of exactly the same note on the 12th fret. So if you go and then fret the 12th fret of the E string, they're the same note, okay? Remember, each one of these strings are being spread up from the same 2 points. So all the harmonics on all those 12, 7, and 5, all of those are going to be pretty much like the mathematical positions from wherever you fret the string is going to be your natural harmonics again. So let's say we went to 3, D string, or no, E string, sorry. You know what? We're going to do a D string because remember, it's the same thing. It's all about, you know, in this case, the reason why I want to do this is partly because I think I can get it to be louder. If I do this on the E string, I don't know if you're going to hear it. So let's say, you know, what we just went up 3 frets, right? So right now the 12th fret should be the 3rd fret past here, right? Right. So you're going to go D. All right, 3 frets up from 5 would be 1, 2, 3. So this right here on the back side of the 9, so that's the 8th fret. So I'm going to go 3. Okay, that's one way we can do it, is by touching the string, you just pluck, you know what I mean, and get different harmonics that way. That's one way to do it. You also got this way. That one doesn't work as well on this guitar. Sometimes that works too. I think I'm doing it wrong though. Anyway, so that's the idea of what the open strings and getting the natural harmonic. Now I'm getting the natural harmonic while fretting a note. Okay, now those are cool ways of doing it, but that's a little bit hard because you got to pluck and then you got to go all the way over here. Touch very lightly. So sometimes the easier way to do that is get from the pick. Okay, and that's kind of like a false harmonic. All right, and now so the false harmonics kind of come from wherever you hit it. So let's say I'm gonna pop the gain up a little bit. I just went into like the craziest setting on this amp. All right, so like I'm gonna do, and this is stuff the cool stuff they do with the whammy bar. You don't have one of these, but maybe someday you will. So that was 12, 7, and 5. But if you keep going back to 4, 3, and then between 3 and 4, Okay, so all of those are available to you as far as like the harmonics on the open string. And then you can find those, but they're harder when you fret a note. So the trick is that we want to start pinching. Now the pinch is going to work the same way. Depending on where I pick, it'll be louder. But the trick of it really comes in from how you hold the pick. Okay, where's my camera? Right there. All right. So you see how much pick is kind of like held behind my finger. I guess maybe it'd be best if I do it like this. See how much pick is hanging below here. It's just this little nub. Okay, the trick is that when you pluck, you want to graze, the pick hits here, and then you want to touch it with your thumb right here as you come back over the string. So you get a, you know what I mean? So this is the natural note. And then with a pinch harmonic. Now the trick with a lot of this is where I'm picking. Remember I told you how the harmonics can move based off where you're fretting. That's kind of exactly what's happening with the pick. Now I'm gonna pick in a different spot. You know, now it's because it's a false harmonic, you can kind of still get it to work wherever, but there's certain sweet spots. So like if I keep moving the string, it's interesting how that keeps working. But let's say if I just grab the third fret again, you can kind of keep it. So you can kind of find the spot on the string that it works for you, all right? So now a lot of times what the best ways to use these is just way to accent a riff. I'm trying to think of what some riffs we may have played that would be cool to do that with, but I'm struggling right now. And now I did it last week and that darn video is like corrupt or something. So let me see. I'll make another one for you, by the way, by the time, but I want to see you first and then see what I can do for you first. But although if it comes down to it next week you can't be here, I'll just do 2 or something. But anyway, yeah. So let's think of a riff here. A riff that'd be cool. Oh man, why am I blanking so hard right now? I kind of want to show you a Black Sabbath riff, but I feel like it'd be too difficult to get through the whole thing to then be like, oh, this pinch harmonic, this one note. It's like a whole lesson on a riff. But maybe you just work on it like as a scale thing. I think a lot of times when people do this, they like it on the lower strings more. Whereas, and personally for me, I do it on every string. You know what I mean? So I kind of mess with it everywhere, but you think what? It's a little bit harder on the high strings too. You want those rings like that. You don't want it to have like the kind of, get that extra high squealy bit out of it. I'm struggling. So I could do like a ZZ Top riff. Let's try that. So it's going to be open A string, and then a D string at 7 and 5 is going to be the 2 notes. We're going to start on 7 though. Then the A string and D string together. Open A with the D string at 7. So it's 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 7. Then 5 on the G string. Back to the D string. Okay, so this song is called Waiting for the Bus by ZZ Top. And the trick with this is basically like what I want to try and do is start trying to pinch harmonic either the Alright, choose whichever note you want. I kind of want to leave it up to you to decide which note to do. I kind of like the idea of... Now, I wouldn't necessarily play this riff like this. Alright, so, but that's a good one to start with if you don't have another one on mind. Think of a riff though. I have one. Excuse me a second. You might have one already that is exactly kind of like geared up for this, and you just start choosing which one's to pinch harmonic. I could say, if you know Crazy Train, that riff has got, Zakk Wylde plays it differently than like Randy Rhoads, who wrote the song. Whoops, I gotta put that on higher gain. So, like I said, again, more gain makes these pop a little bit more. You know what I mean? All of those, that's a good one. If you know how to play that one. That one's easy. I could show you how to play that room real quick, but I think you could just look up a tab. You could probably figure that one out pretty quick, is it? Okay, if you slow that down, you probably got it. I was thinking of another one though. God, I had one in my mind. I don't think you're playing it's like Metallica or stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff like kind of comes more in that style of music, heavier rock. But like it's say ZZ Top. I got another good one. He's really good at those, by the way. The guy from ZZ Top at the end of the solo from Lagrange. He does like a whole solo on it. So if you listen to Lagrange, L-A space G-R-A-N-G-E, look at that one. The end of that song has a cool solo all in there. And it's all a pentatonic minor. So if you know that scale, you can go. All right. So I was gonna say, what's another good one? So I showed you those two. I was gonna say, well, that one I wouldn't say. Listen to that one. You know, we can try and learn how to play it together. It's not hard. It's actually pretty easy, but the riff is kind of tricky if you're not used to that kind of a rhythm. I'm trying to think. Well, maybe we wrap it up there. All right. So give the idea with the harmonic is basically anywhere on the guitar. You know, you have, once you fret a note, you have the natural harmonics available, and then you also have the false, the pinch harmonics you can get by using the pick and your thumb. And you can find other notes in there. And it's a great way to like kind of accent some stuff. It also, I mean, and harmonics in general are just kind of cool to be able to use, especially if you know kind of like where to use it. Like a good one for me, I always like doing is, this is I'll leave you with this one. We do a lot of times when you play like a D chord. Well, this note, you can find that exact chord in harmonics at the 7th fret, D, G, B. Little major D major triad there. You got other places. You got another one right there. That's the same one, but an octave lower. So those are the natural harmonic spots there, though. So, and then sometimes, you know, depending on if you have a capo on, you can get different ones. So, all right. Well, I hope you have a good weekend, man. I'll see you next time. All right. I hope that helps. Have a good one.